Listen, you and Karen. So, for those of you who don't know, Rick and Karen, I first met Rick through Karen Hunter, and they have these amazing projects that they do together. And you guys just released another drop, but this one very different than the ones previously. It's like every drop and then some all combined. Talk to us a little bit about what y'all have cooking up over there.
Well, this one is about basically giving back to our giving back to the people who support us. It's basically expanding the brand and offering a lot of different categories.
Mm,
So basically, you're seeing the growth of the brand. So we really wanted to kind of go into a couple different directions, really spend time with our female audience.
mm.
We came up with some really, really beautiful silhouettes. Also, we've incorporated the complete person. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to be fit, if you want to have fun, you want to go out in it, we want to be able to kind of give pieces and kind of give like a good sample section
Mm.
for the person who wants to do, basically the everyday person.
I love this. And I'm looking, and for those of you who are like, well, wait a minute, what drop? Where can I get the clothes? Theglobalmajority.com. The Global
Yes.
Majority. I should have mentioned that brand in the very beginning. I'm scrolling right now, and these are absolutely gorgeous pieces. And I think I have something from just about every single drop y'all have put forward. And it feels different. And there's so many more options. What was the driving push behind expanding the brand and focusing in particular on the ladies this time?
Well, first of all, it's funny because as Karen's getting in shape,
Yes,
so
she is.
she's super active now, right?
Can I
So
tell you how she's inspired me? I actually joined a virtual workout group. Today was day two. It kicks my ass. It kicks my ass.
so Karen is like, something. Hey, I don't want to wear anything except my stuff. And I said, well, let's do it. And but the key things here, this is that Karen and I both being people of color, we want to make sure when we jump into a space that we're better.
Mm,
You and I talked about before. We don't get second chances.
right.
So when I say, hey, if we're going to jump into the active wear space, Karen, we need to be on the same level or better than a Lululemon. And if we can't compete there, then we don't do it. And so that's what we did. We built it out, and we're actually on that same level. So we
Now,
brought.
Rick, can we pause there for just a minute? Because I got to sneak in my business questions. We're going to talk about the brand, but I got to get these questions. To set a goal, like we're going to be in the athletic wear, athleisure wear, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly,
Yes.
space. And in that space, we are going to be at least as good as Lululemon. That feels like a very auspicious goal. And I feel like a lot of times when people are starting out in brand development and cultivating their business, they aim much, much lower than like shooting for, the farthest star in that galaxy. Talk to us about what drove that as a goal and what kind of steps we need to take as people who are thinking about business or delving into entrepreneurship. Some of us got doged into entrepreneurship. How do we determine what feels like a realistic goal as opposed to something that, honey, you need to sit down and rethink that one?
Well, I think the most important thing is where do you fit at in brand equity? Where do you feel your brand is worth?
Mm,
That's the first thing. So it's like, if you're developing a brand, who's your audience? What are you trying to offer them? And again, what Karen and I talk about, if you sell something for $10, if you sell a shirt for $10, you can never come back and sell something for 50
oh,
because you already created that perception. So it's
right.
about perception for our audience. It's like what I truly believe in when you make a purchase from the global majority, this isn't mandatory.
Right.
You're doing this because you truly care. You're doing this. I mean, you have your mortgage, your children, you have all these different bills. And if you take 5 minutes out of your time to come support us, I have to make sure when you purchase that garment, it is the best garment you're going to get,
Mm.
period. So when you think about building your business, you want to offer the best. And so that's why the goals are lofty. If why not shoot for the stars? What's the worst that can happen? You don't get there? Okay, well, doing nothing is nothing.
Right.
So
And if you
it's
don't
like
get to the
my,
star you were shooting for, at least you're in the melanated black sky.
yeah, well, at least we're in the galaxy. Right?
You're elevated. You've elevated already. Now, this question about what is your brand worth? How do we, for people who are in the beginning, and maybe they've got expertise, maybe they're at the very beginning, we don't know, but determining what your brand is worth, particularly when, actually two things, particularly when you're coming from a community where we tend to undervalue ourselves, right? And when we're coming from spaces where we often have this idea that black-owned businesses sometimes be a little fugazi with the service, right? And you hear that critique a lot whenever we have a conversation about supporting black businesses. We will always get at least one caller who's like, I supported one black-owned business in 1987 and they was terrible and I have never gone back. And it's like, really, son, seriously? talk to us about those two competing elements. One, having an accurate way of assessing what your brand is or what you want it to be. And two, you have a commitment to excellence that we often don't hear stereotypically described when we're talking about Black business. Give us a sense as to where that comes from as well.
Well, the perception is reality. I mean, that's you and I would have to go back and talk about, the genius of plantation slavery,
Oh,
where you're actually able to, separate husband and wife, house blank, field blank. That was just one of the most genius forms of oppression into mankind. And
wow.
it's still present today.
Yes.
You know, I had jokes with my friends. I said, hey, let's say one of your friends is diagnosed with cancer. Are you going to go to Jay Rubenstein or Leroy Jenkins? Ask
Damn.
that question to people. Most people will say
Yeah.
Rubenstein, but they didn't know Leroy Jenkins is the premier scholar in that field of cancer research. They just made the perception based upon the name. And so, with that reality, is something that Karen and I truly understand, and that's how we win. Is that if you have the perception that the brand is going to be that we're going to knock you in the face with that quality,
Mm.
and then be consistent. That's
Mm.
the key to it. It's not just doing it once, it's doing it 15, 20, 30 times. And also remembering it's not just because us or we're, nitpicky. No, it's like, I don't care about that. If you spend your hard earned money on our brand, I want you to get the best. If you have that philosophy, then be damned with any stereotype, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So you're not caught up in any stereotypes. Now, if you're coming out the box understanding that every dollar a person spends on you is a privilege, and you
Mm.
must make sure you give them the best quality in return, you'll win by default. So
Mm.
you focus there, and the key thing is consistency, especially with us. Our folk, we want to see you. We may not buy the first time, the second time, but by the third, fourth time I'm hearing it, maybe I'll go out and take that shot. And a
Right.
lot of companies don't get to a third or fourth, fifth campaign,
Right. That
right?
part.
Even you and I talked about that. They don't get to
Yeah.
that third or fifth campaign. We're on now to our 15th campaign.
Has it
And
been that many?
yeah, because we're just being consistent. I mean, when Karen first started, again, Karen's vision is genius. I mean, the what makes it work for us is that she wants to take topics that don't necessarily translate to apparel.
Mm.
I mean, she wants to pick people that is not a household name.
Yeah.
She wants to, she wants to make
What I do know is that she will pick somebody who's not a household name and elevate them to where like that is no longer an issue.
and
Just
that was the
ask me how
challenge.
I know.
Exactly. And that was the challenge that really hooked me.
Mm.
What I'm saying? That was a
Yeah.
challenge that really hooked me. And it's like, something, this is dope. I mean, this is something that's different. This is something that can last the test of time. And
Mm.
so the marriage is Karen's creativity, and now we have to match it with the product.
Wow.
And so now what I was explaining to Karen is that when you're now a brand, you don't necessarily have to have, you know, images. You just go with your logo. Now it's about the clothes. So the transition for us now is it's about the clothes. It's
Wow.
about contemporary. We don't have to be loud. We don't have to be logo everywhere,
Right.
right? Get
Now,
in
is
the
it
car.
that you can do that because you started out with the images, you started out with something that was capturing people's attention, like the
That goes
the,
back
the say less and the stay readies and, and the Fannie Lou
goes
Hamers,
back
all of
to
that.
that goes back to what we said earlier about building brand equity.
Right.
Now the brand has equity, it has credibility. So now we're saying, hey guys, let's grow. There's no difference
Mm.
between us and Ralph Lauren.
Mm.
So
I
now
love
we're gonna be
this.
we're gonna and I hate using other people as an example, but that's what we're gonna be.
Yeah. Oh
And
man, this is so
we're
good.
gonna do it, and we're gonna be, we're not gonna be apologetic about it either. It's like we're in this space. When I'm saying that, yes, we're in the same level as Lululemon, yes, because that's what we take the time to build it. It's not just, oh, let's just go drop something. You research, you do R&D, you
Mm.
test it. I'm talking about we put these garments through hell and back to make sure that if we say it does A, it does A.